Hi, I'm your host, Carrie Hummingbird. I'm so glad that you are joining us today. We are live on Skills Not Pills movement, and I'm really excited today to be back. It's been a little while since I've done an interview for Skills Not Pills, taking a little break after all of the excitement. And today I'm really excited to have Donna Blevins with us, who is going to talk to us about mind shifting, which I just think is so cool. Mind shifting. And this is a skill that you guys can learn to improve your lives. So welcome, Donna. I'm so glad you're here with us.
Oh, Carrie, it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So tell us a little about what is mind shifting.
Our body is a vehicle. Our mind is the driver. How we think creates our reality. And we can shift the way we're thinking in a moment and change what it feels like to be alive.
In a moment, like we can just make that choice, and it doesn't have to take decades of psychotherapy to change it. It can just be in a moment.
As a matter of fact, my poker coaching clients, when I would say just shift your mindset, because if you're in a hand and you get upset, you can't say, oh, excuse me, please, I need to step away from the table and do half an hour meditation, then I'll come back and play that hand. That's not the way it works. We had to learn how to shift your mindset quickly. And I've been doing this all my life since I was 6. And when I said just shift your mindset, they'd go, well, would you please, tell us how to do that? So I crafted ways that were very simple, because if you're going to pick a verb, everybody has a verb, and my verb is simplify. And so I was able to gel it down so it doesn't take years to learn. As a matter of fact, the first woman that I coached remotely, I'm in Florida, she's competing in a huge tournament, a poker tournament at the World Series of Poker in 2010. And after the first 9 hours that we're working together, because we check in about every hour, just a really short mind shift, she said, this is better than years of therapy.
Wow. Better than years of therapy.
Yeah, and she said she wished that she could send it to her insurance company.
Yeah. That'd be worth a lot, right? I mean, think about all the hours saved on the couch every week, and think about all the, not only the money, but just the time, all the time.
Yeah, I have, for myself, I was trying to figure out how I could schedule a process so that if I had something I wanted to change, how did I deal with that? And I've created what I call a 10-minute a day mind shift master plan, because it takes only 10 minutes a day when you're focusing on a particular task or change. If you do that for 40 days, you will have anchored a new habit, a positive habit. It's a way of turning negative thoughts into positive patterns.
Negative thoughts into positive patterns. Only 10 minutes a day. And why 40 days? Is 40 days just like a magic number, or?
Virtually every book, religious book that you look at is going to mention the 40 days. It takes a silkworm 40 days to build a cocoon. It takes 40 days, the 40 days and 40 nights. It's mentioned a lot in different religions, and people say, well, it only takes 21 days to anchor a habit. Research has shown that 40 days is the threshold to start anchoring. Some people may need longer. Some people say they have patterns that they have such a difficult time shifting, but when they say that, they've created the reality of it being difficult to do, because the words we say set ourselves up for either success or failure.
The words we say set ourselves up for either success or failure. Right there. Very profound. Very true.
And think about even more than say, that the words we choose. That's the words we choose, because we choose the words that we say to ourselves, the words that we think. So it's that word choice, I believe, is at the the bare basic foundation of shifting your mindset in a moment, on a dime, as they say.
So is it the power, I mean, is it just the word, just really just changing the words that we speak actually make a big difference?
I believe it has to do with changing the words, but then first of all, being mindful. Mindfulness is the key. Let me back up a little bit. I think that first of all, when we're dealing with something that we want to change, we need to forgive ourselves for being there, because we are our own worst enemy when it comes to any type of growth. And we want to go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And we need to forgive ourselves for being there, whatever we're dealing with. It's just part of life. And whatever has happened, whatever you bring up that's causing you stress or trauma, just forgive yourself for being in that place where you're feeling, how you're feeling. And then it's a case of bringing it up and rating where you are. Because you need to have some quantitative numbers that give you some validation that this is working. So rate where you are on like a number scale using the pain scale. With 0 is nothing, 10 is, oh my goodness, that's so terrible, take me to the ER. So right where you are when you bring up a situation, and then ask it to show itself in your mind's eye. You know, you're going, close your eyes and you're going, well, I just can't quite see that, whatever that is. Give it a name. And then look at the word in your mind's eye, because when you ask it to show itself, or take a form, and if you're having difficulty locating a form, just simply ask, give it a name, and then look at that word. You have now put it in a finite situation. It's no longer out there and all around you, consuming you. It is now in your mind, and it has boundaries. And it's a profound way to deal with something that's causing you strife.
Like creating an entity out of it, creating a thing out of it.
Yeah.
Making it tangible.
That's right. And it's astonishingly easy to do, and it's surprisingly fast, because in your mind's eye, once you do that, then step back one step, and by stepping back one step, you stop fueling it rather than continually thinking about it. When people go, oh my gosh, I hurt so bad, then you hurt more bad. You hurt worse, because when you think about it, you fuel it. So you step back from it and you disconnect from it and you detach and you become an objective observer. And in that moment, when you do that, you can just notice it and say, oh, I think it's the magical word. Say, isn't that interesting? And you can say that out loud. As a matter of fact, once you step through this is a 7-step process that I'm just talking you through right now. And it's so amazing, because when you get accustomed to doing it, something comes up that's really just, you just go, and you go, isn't that interesting? And when you do that, after you go through it enough time, continually, so that you have developed those patterns, your brain can shift, your subconscious can shift through that just like that, without you having to step through it. And once you have said, isn't that interesting, just be in the moment and notice it. And as you are, it's actually moving away from you. It's getting smaller. It's getting dimmer. And then you open your eyes and you look up and to the right, and you pivot your entire body to your right, and you continue looking up and you ask, where would I rather be? And just let it go. What you're doing is you're issuing a subliminal task to your subconscious. You're asking a question, a properly crafted question that is effectively a code modifier for the subconscious, because our subconscious is a computer, and we have been sending software to it and programming it all of our lives, and you can reprogram it by sending code modifiers and by simply asking a question like, where would I rather be? and you just feel better. Then you rate where you are. I've had people go from an 8 to a 3 in 3 minutes on the pain scale when they were dealing with chronic pain. I did a show 2 days ago, and after it was over, the woman said, "Would you please step me through this?" I said, "Sure." And it's unnecessary for me to know what you're dealing with. It's not a therapy couch where you have to share with me what that is. But I talked her through it, and I said, "Where are you on the scale?" And she said, "I'm a 10." I said, "Okay." So we went through it. And actually, she was so tense in what she was, because she was fine when we were doing the broadcast. But when at the end of it, when she said, "There is something that's bothering me," she got really tense. Her shoulders went up. And so I said, "Well, let's do the 3 breath move where you breathe in slowly and exhale. And as you're doing it, you can move your shoulders like this." It's a wonderful way. It's kind of like you're doing self-massage on your wings. And do that as you're breathing.
Or you're just like letting it go. Like it's kind of like the water in a duck's back is just sort of like, oh,
Yeah.
going on
So
there.
so you can do that before you start. And when we finished, I asked her where it was, and she said, "Wow, well, I guess I have to rate it a 3, but it's really closer to 0." So it's astonishing. What happens is that it might jump back up, or the situation might be a situation that you have no control over, and it affects you by other people, and it might happen again, and that's okay. Just shift through the process. And it's so much better than pills. It's a skill.
Yeah, you know what I like about it is I've actually I naturally do this actually. Like I don't, I guess I do look to the right. I look there. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kind of like naturally know like I'm listening or something.
What
Like,
you're doing when you look to the right, you're accessing the right hemisphere of the brain, which is the creative side of the brain. The left is the logical, practical. Men are more left brain. Women are more right brain. But we do bounce back and forth between one brain and the other. And some people are, I call bilateral. I'm a left brain, right brain, because I
yeah,
deal with
sometimes I look
logic and
this
reason.
way.
Mhm. You're looking for information.
And other times I go over here.
Yeah, you're looking for creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the lie meter, people that deal with determining whether somebody is telling the truth, if they're trying to answer you and you're looking to the right, they're usually making up an answer.
Well, maybe not though. Because sometimes when I look to the right, I'm accessing information that's outside of my field. Like I'm tapping into source. I'm going, what what is the answer here? Like I'm not really sure I know the answer. So I need to check. Oh, okay, okay, now this is the answer. So like it's kind of like I'm looking there and I'm going, okay. I think that that's sort of an interesting little thing though that you just brought out is the ego. You know, I feel like the ego is more attached with this left side of the brain. Like it wants to like know all the answers, and it thinks like if you have all the answers, then you just you just like do your thing, right? But some things you don't actually know. You think you know, but you really don't know. That's why I really like this exercise that you're bringing up, because when you open to that, isn't that interesting? It dislodges this, which is the story. It's like the stuck place. And it dislodges it. And then you go, well, what is the answer? It's like here, but it's there, because it's all inside. But it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and what you do is then you craft. You might want to change it to, isn't that amusing? Or isn't that?
I like that, because that is the place it needs to, because the ego really doesn't like being poked at either. It doesn't like you making fun of it, but it is kind of like humor lightens the whole thing.
That's right. And you can change it. And I started doing, that was suggested by a lovely man who had emailed me telling me, once I shared that MindShift exercise, before the book MindShift on Demand was published, I shared that in a complimentary webinar, probably let's see, it was published in 2017. It was probably 2015 when I shared that on a webinar. And I just wanted to get some feedback, how people were responding to it. And I got an email from him that said, I didn't know him. And, he was on my list, but I didn't personally know him. And he said, you saved my life. And, when you see that in print, you go, okay, that's nice. Tell me how. Because people sometimes, when it's in writing, you just don't know what it sounds like. And he came back with the story that was astonishing to me, heartwarming and humbling, because he said that he had a pistol and he was ready to use it, and he had one bullet, and he had put it on his coffee table, and he opened up his computer to email his family goodbye. And he saw the replay. I had sent an email saying that there's a replay up. And I think I need to go back and look at that subject line, because I need to use that subject line, whatever that was. And he said that when I got to the point where I told them to, whatever if that issue is, to forgive yourself for being there, he said he fell down on his knees and he just cried for 20 minutes. And he said it was such an experience that was life-changing. And he said, all you need to know is that if you save one person with your book, MindShift on Demand, that's all you need to know. And I've known since I was a small child that I needed to get out here and talk to the world. And let's face it, God gave me a body that is 6 feet 5 inches tall.
You're supposed to be seen.
That's right. And so I reckon I'm supposed to be out here, even though we're on the internet and I'm sitting at home in my home office. But I want to tell you, I'm 6 feet 5 inches tall. The reason I'm telling you that is to let you know that it's something that you might remember. Hey, that woman that talked about, isn't that interesting? She's tall too. And that might help you to remember to do that. But I also want you to know that whatever your body is, I want you to love on that. Love on that. You need self-love. Whatever flaws we have, just love them and appreciate them. That in itself is self-healing.
Yeah, definitely bringing everything into acceptance and love. And it's a journey coming to acceptance and love. And I think that MindShift, is definitely something that helps you get there. So you explained, how to apply it when you're sort of just dealing with your own pattern inside of you, like the man, right, who had that moment. And I've been at that place several times where, my inner dialogue was really messing with me, right, to the place where I wanted to self-harm. And for anybody out there that's dealing with that, I get it. It's not easy to overcome sometimes those things, but we can, because there are tools. When you've got the right skills and tools, then you can deal with it in a different way that maybe be a little bit more helpful and successful in the long run. Dissolving it into the ethers, where, it can kind of like fade away and you can have a whole new reality come in, with, like you were suggesting. But let's say you've in relationship with somebody who, when you do that, like when you're practicing that really bothers them. like they want you to engage in the thing that's messy. Like they want you to engage. How do you use this in the context? I mean, I guess it's just extra muscle, but how do you use it in the context where you're engaging with someone and there's like a co-created thing, and they want to if you don't engage with the co-created thing, if you're sort of holding it in that, like, isn't that interesting? space, then that really even aggravates it further.
If it aggravated it further, what might you do, you're saying?
Yeah, like they're kind of getting like aggravated that you're not getting as passionate and involved with it as they are, you know?
Well, is it something you choose to do? If you choose to be in that position, in that relationship, then either you engage or you fold the hand. You know, you have a
Let's
choice.
bring poker in. Okay, good. Let's bring the poker analogy. I would really explore this because I know that there's a lot of light workers out here who are being the bridge, right? We're called to be the bridge. And we want to show up with love. And we recognize it, right? We see non-engagement. Okay, I'm gonna do the healing on me to be in a different relationship with the thing. And then there's people in our lives who are like, I don't want to be in a different relationship with the thing. Like I want to just be with it the way being with it. And I want you to be that way too. And you're like, no, I'm being non-engaged with it and I'm just not believing it anymore, right? So how do we, what advice, tell us the poker analogy. I want to know the poker
Well,
analogy.
one of the things that I discovered when I started working with poker players, and by the way, poker gave me the arena where I was able to practice the MindShift exercises in a quick format to get verifiable results. That was astonishing to me to be able to have that framework. I mean, because when you're at the poker table, that's all you have is that table. Even if you're in a tournament that has 6,000 players, you only are playing against 8 or 9 players at once. That's it. Your universe is finite. And what I learned was that the biggest problem poker players had was they kept wanting to hold on to a hand too long, even when they knew they had a losing hand. So I created a phrase which is give yourself permission to fold. Releasing that which no longer serves you. It's probably one of the biggest challenges I've had in my life is holding on to things that I just felt like I had too much invested. And it's giving yourself permission to fold because we never know it all. Carrie, you said, well, we have the information we have, but we don't. We never, ever have all the information because it's a fluid universe. It is continually changing and evolving, and we must be aware and understand that change as it happens. It's like in a poker tournament, in a poker hand, you might make the absolute best decision right now, but another card's going to come, and that's different information. And it may no longer be the perfect hand. And you just have to realize that you need to give yourself permission to fold. At the same time, you need to give yourself permission to take risks and to take calculated risks when you have the courage, because it does take courage to take risks, and we have to take risks in life. Because if we wait for all of the information, we never take action.
Because the information is always changing anyway.
That's exactly right. And if we expected to get all the information and we waited for it, we end up being stuck.
Yes, and there is some stuckness on the planet at this time.
Well, there's always has been, always will be. It's always, and you're talking about, and I am reluctant to mix metaphors, but life is absolutely a journey. And when I say that our body is the vehicle, our mind is the driver, and we can either be a mindful, conscientious driver, or we can be an unwitting passenger. We have a choice.
Yes, and that's why these kinds of exercises are really important, because when you do this kind of exercise, it sort of like peels back the curtain and you see the curtain like it's like that was just a total illusion that just happened. And you just see it. It was just an illusion. It was something that came in that caused emotion and caused reaction and all this stuff. And I just like went like, oh, is that so? And now snapping it off, you can be like in a different place with it where you could see it in a whole new way, right? That gives you freedom.
It's empowering. It's
Yeah.
absolutely empowering to be able to step into, well, it's step into what I call your authentic game.
Your authentic game.
Yes, you, not someone else's. Certainly we, in the poker industry or anything, whatever you're doing, you're going to find someone that is successful. And it's like putting up a website. You're going to look for some people that you really like, and you think, well, I might want to mimic that. Well, that's okay. That's okay to start with. But then you have to let it evolve to who you are so that you are showing and being your authentic self.
Yeah, and I think each one of us has to do that in our lives. We start off with a family that thinks, watches us grow and then wants us to be a certain way. And then we start deciding for ourselves at some point, like we start deciding, making choices like, well, no, that doesn't feel right. I'm this. And we step into that place of creation. And wouldn't it be, I wonder what it would be like. I'm going to use one of those. I wonder what it would be like if people on the planet could just let go of what they think they know about everybody in their lives and wake up every day in wonder and anticipation to find out what's true today. Wouldn't that be cool?
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Think so?
Yeah, because when you think about it, every day is a new day. But you also have to realize that the only thing we have control over, and by the way, I have to admit that poker literally saved my life. I was in a huge, stressful situation. We had a real estate company, and I was the management broker for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I took custody of 257 properties in one day.
Wow.
And we were 7 years into this, and we were working 17 hours a day. And it was 7 days a week. And I was always worried about the contractors I was working with, and they did that wrong, or did I do this? It's coming up tomorrow, and I'm sitting at the poker table when I was in my late 40s when I came across poker in 1996, and you can do the math. And I'm sitting at the table, and I had one of those life awakening moments. I'm in this hand, and have the two cards in front of me, and I'm worried about what happened, and I'm worried about what's coming. And all of a sudden, this lightning flash, and I realized that the only thing I had control over was how I played the hand I'm in. That's the only thing that ever existed. And it was that moment of mindfulness and awareness that was life-saving for me. If I had not done that, I would likely be dead from stress today because of the stress that I was under, because I was co-creating the stress.
Co-creating, yeah. And you had a choice in that, even if you didn't realize it at the time. So you also had another powerful experience once you wrote all of your teachings down and you created your teaching platform and you were going to go out and share it. And then you demanded.
Yes, Halloween of 2013, as a matter of fact. I stood up from my computer, and I have this big flat screen TV attached to the computer, and I'm looking at a MindShift Exercises on the screen, and I said, I want something that proves my MindShift Exercises work, and I want proof now. And I stomped my foot like a brat, and I must have kick-started a clot, because moments later, lightning flashed in my head, and I had a massive center left brain stroke. And when I hit the floor, I'm completely aware, by the way. Can't say a word except for two. I can say two words. I can say Donna and crap. My favorite word. And when I hit the floor, I thought, be careful what you ask for. And I was airlifted from our local hospital to the University of Florida Teaching Hospital. And all along the way, they're saying she will never be able to speak fluidly again. It'll take 8 to 9 months before she can speak. And I have this internal remote control. You know, remote controls. Everybody have remote controls. Well, my internal remote control only has 3 buttons: delete, erase, clear. That's it. And I was continually doing that whenever they said something. Rather than buy into the illness, I chose to detach and observe. I probably did this MindShift exercise I shared with you a couple of hundred times in 2 days. And the beauty of it is, in 3 days, I was able to speak fluidly.
That's beautiful. What a wonderful demonstration of this gift that you're bringing to the world, and you got to experience it as we do as teachers. We get to go through it ourselves in extreme ways so that we really know it works, and so we can bring it out into the world with confidence. So you have total confidence now because you know it works. So wonderful. So tell us, how do people work with you if they want to learn this exercise and they want to really practice this?
All they need to do is go to MindShiftOnDemand.com. That's MindShiftOnDemand.com. Just scroll down and opt in for a 4-minute MindShift exercise. That is the one I shared with you. It's a 4-minute audio. You'll download and you'll hear my voice. And what I want you to know is that whether it is written word that I have done, I'm speaking to you live, or you hear it recorded, I want you to know that I am speaking directly to you. Because we can be energetically connected with intention, and that is my intention. Just opt in there, and once you're opted into my list, you'll be able to communicate with me fluidly. I'm changing my platforms in who's taking care of my email service provider. So I'm a little glitchy that I am fixing. So please opt in, get the 4-minute audio, and then you can click over and get the book. There's a button there. You can click over to Amazon to get the book in print or in Kindle. And the Kindle was launched, excuse me, Veterans Day in 2017 without any promotion, except for one tweet to say, hey, the book's up. And I wanted it to be out there for veterans and for people that are dealing with stress and trauma. And it went to #1 hot new releases in sports psychology for 3 solid days. And since then, it's been in the top 100 in sports psychology, because sports is a manifestation of taking things to a game. You know, and whatever we're doing in any sport, that is a mirror of what our strengths or weaknesses are in the rest of our life, or what we're doing in sales or relationships or in with relatives.
Yeah.
So,
Tricky stuff.
yeah.
But that's what we came here to do. So wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being and sharing your wisdom with us and your guidance. And, you know, of course, I want to invite everybody to go to your website and check out your free download. I mean, it's free. Go ahead and go get that, read the book, download everything, support this beautiful work and benefit from it. And I'd also love to just, once again, invite you to come to skillsnotpillsmovement.com. Join the community if you're called to, and join our email list, you know, get news about things that are going to be happening like this. And also, we have a free live webinar coming up on Sunday, the 16th of December, which is just a couple of days from now. Is today Friday? My goodness. Sunday is going to be this webinar, and it's called Destruction and Reinvention. So this idea of like taking whatever it is that you've got right now and being willing to pull it all apart, you know, like change it and create something new. And there's this beautiful picture of a mosaic as part of the advertisement, because you can see a mosaic is exactly that. As a mosaic is like, you know, some glass like either smashed or cut up neatly, or however you want to do it, and then create something new out of it, create something beautiful that you choose. So we can all do that all the time, right, Donna? Like we can do that with everything in our lives all day long.
That's it. And just remember to craft the words that you say to yourself, and craft those questions, because people talk about affirmations, and frankly, a standard affirmation rarely works. What you need to do is to craft a why question in a way that downloads the proper question to the subconscious, so it can start to rewrite that that underlying software, because our mind is an iceberg, and our conscious mind is this 10% that we
Great little
see.
tip.
That's right. And the rest of it is everything else that we are, our beliefs, our values, who we are and what we do. So just give yourself a break and learn. Just give yourself a break and love on yourself some, and ask yourself positively crafted why questions.
And become creative and artistic with this
Yes,
process. Like
absolutely.
this is your piece of art you get to create, you know, and it's yours. No, there's no judgment. Design your art. Do it. Enjoy it. Live it. Love it. Okay, here we go. Well, thank you so much for being on with us, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. You know, please comment below. We'll also put this out on YouTube. You know, feel free to share it out and make comments and share it with your friends, and hopefully it helps. Okay, love you much. Bye, everybody.